She said, she'll take me anywhere, she'll take me anywhere, as long as she stays with me. She said, she'll take me anywhere, she'll take me anywhere, as long as I stay queen. Kiss, kiss Molly's lips, kiss, kiss Molly's lips, kiss, kiss Molly's lips, kiss, kiss Molly's lips. Amy Matter and NXT was very good, and I mean, I'm going to talk about both NXT and Dynamite because Dynamite was also last night at times, and I'm going to talk about this episode of NXT. It was very cool, and I mean, it's one of those things where you had a lot of stars, you had a lot of interest, excitements, and obviously it's going to be a new era, which I think is awesome. So anyways, let's get to it. Like, you have the match with Roxanne Perez, the Prodigy, versus Asuka. Asuka, this is her first time in NXT since, I believe, 2018. I could be wrong on that. However, this was a good match. And I believe as much as Roxy tried, she wasn't ready for Asuka. I think that it was still an awesome match. You still had Asuka show respect to Roxanne, which I thought was awesome. After the match, Kiana James tried to attack, and that didn't happen because Shotzi Blackheart was actually out for commentary, and she came into the ring to attack Kiana, who left the ring. And I mean, the interesting thing though was you have Shotzi, who said that she was going to be a part of Halloween Havoc, again, being the host along with Scarlett. So that's actually pretty fucking cool. I can't wait to see that. And so, yeah, this was a good match. And I mean, it goes to show you how awesome that Roxy is since coming to NXT. And also, yeah, Asuka's still the best. She's still one of the best wrestlers in WWE, at least the women's division. So, let's see how far that goes. There's also a segment where she was congratulated with some of the NXT women, and when Tiffany Stratton came out, you know, she had the thing with, can't remember her name, Brooks, or no, not Brooks, anyways, had the thing with her, and Asuka just turned around and left like she was kind of freaked out or whatever, so that was cool. Oh yeah, this was awesome too. A bar fight, and you have the United Kingdom, you have England versus Scotland, you have the Gallus boys, who took on the Brawling Brutes of Pete Butch Dunn, Wedge the Fridge Holland, and Tyler Bate. This was awesome. These two really took each other to the limit. There was a point where Tyler hit Mark with a glass of beer, which I thought was interesting. They had pool cubes, they had like a lot of like beer, glasses of beer, obviously. You even had a bowling ball, and this match was awesome. Brawling Brutes and Tyler Bate won. They both had submissions on the Gallus boys. This was awesome, and I mean, this is the thing. I think that this new era is going to be awesome. I think that NXT has been on a roll forever, but with Triple H back in full charge, it's going to be even more better, and I think this proves it. This fucking proves it. So, there was a point where Cody Rhodes came out. He was the guest general manager for the night, and he made a match with Dominic and Idol Dragunov. Now, I think this was a non-title match. Still don't understand why Dominic won back the North American title, but it is what it is. I mean, you have a point where Dominic slaps Io, which makes him snap, and he beats the shit right out of Dominic with machine gun chops, the Torpedo Moscow, and gets the win, retaining the title. So yeah, this actually was up for grabs, which I think is kind of stupid. Because honestly, Dominic doesn't need another title. So why they did that, I'm not really sure. But yeah, you had interference by the Judgment Day, but to no avail. And I mean, that was odd. Oh, yeah, that was a thing too. It was LA Knight who was the special guest referee, so I missed that, but it was still a good match, and I mean, yeah, I really can't say enough about it. I think that, once he gets up to the main roster, Raw or SmackDown, whichever, we'll see what happens, but we have a match for the breakout tournament. Lola Vice, who defeated Danny Palmer. Both very, very talented. And I mean, that's the thing. You got NXT that focuses more on the youth of professional wrestling. And I think that's awesome. I mean, Danny had some very good moves. She countered a move. But Lola Vice ended up picking up the win. And so we'll see what happens with the other tournament. We'll see who she takes on. That's kind of cool. And not to mention the fact, too, and it's a new era because, first off, you have Cody announce the return of the Dusty Classic. But then there's also, that's cool, take team tournament, which we've wanted for a while, and it's something that's gonna come back, and it's kind of new, but still, I think that's pretty cool. At the main event, you have Braun Breaker, who was introduced by Paul Heyman, which is awesome. There could be a point where you will have another Paul Heyman guy, but also there was a little video of Ava, who was talked to by Paul, who I guess tried to recruit him for Bloodline, which makes a lot of sense. A, she is a part of the Anawahi tribe, and B, Schism broke up, so it's gonna be cool to see if that happens, and that should happen. My question is why is Braun Breaker being recruited? I think that's awesome. I mean, look, Paul Heyman can manage anybody he wants. He doesn't just have to manage the Bloodline. So, at that match, it was Carmelo Hayes that came out with John Cena. And of course, John Cena came out, and then this whole thing happened in ring. And I thought that was cool too, but I'll get to that in a minute. This match was awesome, and it was basically a one-sided ass kicking. So, and that was kind of the thing. Braun Breaker did his job, but I mean, Carmelo Hayes could have, won the match easily too, but Braun ended up going over, and that was awesome. I mean, yeah. So, anyways, after the match, got Braun celebrating, and you have the lights go out, and there's the gong. And then, of course, The Undertaker comes out. Not the Dead Man Undertaker, however, but American Badass, which I think is necessary. I mean, I think we're all done with The Undertaker Dead Man gimmick. And he gave us Braun a chokeslam. And a lot of people, some people didn't seem to like that, but I thought that was pretty cool because, I mean, like he says, I'll make you famous. We'll see what happens as regards to that, but I think overall this was a good match. So yeah, this was a good show. And I mean, it's one of those things too where I don't know where to go from here. And I know people are going to go, well, why the fuck is The Undertaker back? Like, Mark Calloway should be retired. And the thing is that he's under Legends contract. I mean, he could come back anytime he wanted. Like, look at Leon White. Leon White, big fan Vader, he came back, but he didn't wrestle full time. He just came back for a squash match, mostly with Heath Slater, but there's a lot of them that are like that. And I know that you can retire from WWE, but there's always a possibility of a surprise return, one night only, if you will. So I think that's okay. I don't think that means too much. But this was a good show. This actually proves that WWE is moving forward and trying new things and, bringing back a classic, no pun intended. So this is going to be awesome. But anyways, yeah. On to Dynamite Tuesday. So, yes, last night was also Title Tuesday for Dynamite. What a show. And I mean, apparently there was a buy-in. For some reason I didn't see that, but it was still a really good show. And I mean, this was Adam Copeland's debut in the ring, taking on Luchasaurus. We'll get to that in a second, but yeah, I mean, you had a lot of vignettes for Toni Storm. Honestly think she's really funny, and that's awesome. I didn't know how I was gonna go about it. I thought it was gonna be lame, but it'll probably grow on me. But yeah, here we go. So like I said, there was the buy-in. Not sure why this was, but you had Eddie Kingston defeating Minoru Suzuki for the World Ring of Honor title and the Strong Open Weight title. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this was a good match, but there was a lot of chops being served, obviously, so yeah. So the show starts with Bryan Danielson, who took on Swerve Strickland, and this was an awesome match. I mean, obviously, Prince Nana animated as usual, and they pulled out all the stops. Obviously thought Bryan might win, and there was a point where you have Bryan, he was gonna hit Strickland with a high knee, and Strickland caught it. You have the end of the match, you have Prince Nana, who took the crown off and was going to hand it over to Swerve, but then you have Adam Page coming out and taking the crown, but somehow you have Danielson, who was going to get hit with the JML, but countered it with the Buzuku knee and won the match. So this will play into later on, obviously, but a very good match, very great pound, a lot of mat wrestling, and we even had the lapel lock at one point. But I don't see these two not wrestle again. I believe that's going to happen. But yeah, this was awesome. Yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs with Don Callis, who basically mopped the floor with Chris Jericho. I hate saying it, but that's kind of what happened. And I mean, Chris Jericho did try to get the win. He did try the Walls of Jericho. That did not work. And yeah, 5 spine busters. Jericho avoided the power slam. But yeah, Hobbs hit the strongest slam the more strongest slam, if you will, to win the match. And this is kind of like, okay, you have the Jericho appreciation. Well, it's basically Matt Menard and Daniel Garcia checking on Chris. Well, Daniel is. Matt runs off. Basically, I'm not sure what's going to happen with that, honestly, but this was a good match. And, you know, we'll see what happens from there. You also have the ongoing thing with Roderick Strong and the Kingdom and their house, and Adam Cole coming in doing all these favors. He's like, look, I really have to get this surgery done. But Roderick's like, hey, I need your help. Then Adam calls out all the things that have happened, and yeah, I mean, we'll see how far this goes. I don't see it happen too much longer. It's kind of a point where they're gonna have to do something. I don't necessarily want to see MJF go back to being a heel, but if it happens, then who knows? You have Orange Cassidy versus Rey Fenix for the international title. This was a good match too. And I mean, two different styles. And the fact is, you know, thinking that Rey Fenix was going to retain the title, but in a surprising fashion, Orange Cassidy picks up the win and is two-time international champion. Got the best friends coming out, celebrating with him, the confetti and all of that. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think that this was a good call. I think seeing one half of the Lucha Brothers as a singles champion is fine, but I mean, I think the goal is to be the tag team champions. You know, as weird as that sounds, I think, yeah, it's great to see Rey Fenix on his own, but I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. You know, I really don't. I think it's going to be interesting to see if he can get the international title back or go for another one. Yeah, we have Wardlow versus Matt Sydal. And this was an interesting match. And it almost seemed like, hi, Matt Sydal. 3 seconds later. Bye, Matt Sydal. So, yeah, it was a lot of power bombs. The match didn't even start. And, yeah, it was basically Wardlow won, left the ring, left the arena. Got Switchblade Jay White with the Bullet Club Gold, who did defeat Hangman Page. This was a good match. There was a lot of reversals. You weren't going to have the buckshot lariat, but that got distracted by Juice and the Guns, obviously. But there was that point where Prince Nana came out. He was going to hand the crown to... Well, he was going to beat Adam over the head with it. And that didn't happen. And Adam took the crown, threw it away, but then after Prince Nana did that thing, you know, Jay White did the schoolboy for the win. You don't see that very often. So, after the match, you have MJF coming out because obviously Jay White stole his title, which I obviously think it's absolute bullshit, but whatever. I mean, why they did this, I don't know, but basically they cut a promo on each other, and then Juice gets on the microphone, basically jaw jacks for a while, and then says, you know, he takes out a quarter, like a rolled up, you know, money thing, and he shows it, which I honestly don't know if they talked about backstage, because it's a real thing, and yeah, it's kind of like, alright. It was almost like an after-school special, in my opinion, with the speech that MJF made, but still is what it is. It is what it is. You're going to see MJF and Jay White at Full Gear. It's gonna be fucking awesome. It's gonna be for the title, which once again I've already seen what Jay looks like as the champion now, so I don't know why he would win. I honestly don't. If Hiroko Shida versus Saraya for the AEW Women's title, I think that was pretty cool. And I mean, it's one of those things too, where it's like, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with that. I mean, obviously, we'll see a match from them eventually. You have this ninja person coming out. Obviously, you know it's Ruby. She's behind Shida. Shida turns around, basically takes the mask off and sprays Ruby with the paint, and then goes right back after Soraya. And in fact, Soraya was going to get her ass beat. She literally did. You know, kind of just beat the shit right out of her on the outside, threw her on the apron, and did the Falcon Arrow, deep cover, flash pin, and won the title as your new AEW Women's Champion. So I think that's pretty cool. You know, we got 2 championships that have changed hands now, and I think that's pretty fucking cool. So, you know, now that Shida is the champion, you also look into consideration that Toni Storm came out beating Ruby with the shoe. So it's almost like now she's a face, which kind of makes sense because she is funny, but she's also, I don't know where that's going to go anyways. It'll be interesting to see what happens. You have the whole thing with Takeshita and Don Callis doing the play-by-play. By the way, whole thing with the play-by-play screen, you know, you got the commercials, you got the wrestling or whatever, and it's a good idea at the time, but also I get distracted pretty easily, and it's almost like, yeah, I'm watching the wrestling, but I'm also distracted by the commercials, which are whatever, you know, it is what it is. But anyways, yeah, Don Callis and Takeshita did that. You have Luchasaurus and Christian Cage coming out, and it was basically Christian cutting a promo on Adam and taking shots at Beth and even kids, you know. And that was weird, and that's cheap too, like that. It's happening more and more in AEW, which I don't understand. I thought it was funny though, because he poked fun at when Edge joined the Judgment Day being the leader. He's like, I'm not a leader, I'm a father, which is clever but also creepy. And how the match started. And yeah, you have that match. You have Nick Wayne coming out holding Adam's leg while Luchasaurus kicks him, which starts the match. Yeah, basically you thought that Luchasaurus was going to win. I don't understand. You know, it's just fucked up in my opinion, but it did happen. There was a point where Adam did hit the Edge-O-Matic, so that still is a thing. Followed by the spear. And yeah, getting the win. So that's pretty cool. So we'll see what happens. Post-match, you have Nick Wayne chop block Adam Copeland, put him away, trying to anyhow. And Luchasaurus and Nick beating up Adam. Bryan Danielson makes the save. And yeah. Interestingly enough, you got the Blackpool Combat Club. And this is interesting, Mogul Embassy. And so this is, it seems like everyone came out. And Copeland hit Wayne with a spear. And Christian is put into a bell lock from Bryan. And the show ends. So I'm not quite sure if that means that the Blackpool Combat Club are a face take team. So that's kind of a weird thing. But Yeah, this was a good show. I did miss the ending. My PVR cut out. So that's unfortunate, but that is what it is. It's still a very good show. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the thing where Christian was in the beginning show before the credits and he was standing behind Control Center. So this was pretty cool. All in all, both NXT and Dynamite were really good. Like, I really enjoyed them. I think, honestly, NXT was better. I think the storyline with Christian Cage and Adam Copeland, they're longtime friends, and they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Continue off with where they were, I guess, and enjoy Tony Storm's work. And yeah, we'll see what happens with that in the future. But all in all, this was a really good review with both shows, and I know I suffered a little bit with the AEW Dynamite review, but I try to remember everything at once. I just watched the show. I actually watched both shows tonight, so anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Anymore. So you know that them cutting WCW was a long time coming. I don't think that's the case at all. If you look at some of his earlier interviews, like